Welcome to another edition of Got Gameplay on our YouTube channel, and this week we are looking at Risk, which it's going to be a very awkward Got Gameplay for me this week because I'm not entirely sure exactly how much I need to explain what this game is. This game, even if you've played Risk before, even if you haven't played Risk before, well, maybe if you haven't played Risk before, okay, that's a little silly. Perhaps I'm being a little silly there, but if you played Risk before, you know exactly what this is. In fact, if you played Risk on the Xbox 360, I believe that version was called Risk Factions, then this is literally the exact same gameplay. I mean, down to the same modes. In both games, you had world domination, which is what we're doing in this Got Gameplay. You can see me taking on this AI player, the one AI player in this online match. I should actually mention, though, quickly before we move on, one of the really good things about this version of Risk, this is Risk for the PS4 and the Xbox One. I'm not totally sure about the computer, but definitely for the PS4 and the Xbox One. There were a lot of people online playing this at weird hours, at like 6 o'clock in the morning, at midnight, at really weird hours. You can still find people playing this game, which means there's a huge community playing this game. So that's good because you don't want to buy a game that no one's playing. Anyhow, like I was saying, the versions of gameplay, the game modes, if you will, in this game are identical to like Risk Factions from the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 days. You have World Domination, which is what I'm doing right now. You have Capitals, which everyone has a capital. You got to defend it. Someone takes your capital. It doesn't really matter about the rest of your territories. As long as they take your capital, they got your stuff. And then there's Secret Missions, which, well, everyone has an objective which is not known to the rest of the people. And it's something that could be like take over Australia, for example. Just take the continent of Australia. That could be your secret mission. And as long as you take that, continent, there you go. Game is over. You win. And beyond that, that's it in terms of gameplay. I really don't know what else to say in terms of actual gameplay because it's not really a new revelation. You're not going to sit there and go, oh, they completely redesigned Risk. No, they made a new Risk for a new console generation. New console generation allows them to make a new Monopoly, new Risk, new Game of Life. I'm sure all those Wheel of Fortune and, Jeopardy, all those licensed properties that are basically game shows or board games that people buy and they play, but you don't really hear about. All of those, they can be made again because you have another generation of consoles. So, yeah, I would imagine in the next couple of years, you will see all those things come back again. I mean, we've already seen games like Worms. I mean, Worms is a great game, but you always see a new Worm for every console generation, and the new console generation version of Worms is out. Now, to get back to Risk, in terms of negatives, I would say that the biggest negative is the menu system. It is really awkward to get around. In fact, there are situations where, hey, we're going to put an online game out there and you're going to have 5 slots for humans. But if only 4 people join, then the game won't even let you launch. It won't automatically put in an AI guy. You got to close that lobby down and find another lobby or make a new lobby specifically tailored to the number of people you want to play. Which, if you're playing with random people, can be really awkward because how do you know how many people will join? There's no way of telling. So I would say that the menus are very awkward. Also, there's a lot of menu space dedicated to selling you stuff for Hasbro or Ubisoft. So the menus are not great. But other than that, it's Risk. And it's a solid game of Risk. I gave it a 7 out of 10 on a radio show called Got Game. There's nothing surprising here. But if you want a classic, good game of Risk, here you go. This is it. We'll see you next week with another Got Gameplay.